Hey, how's it going there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday night. It is the Earthmaster here, about 10:50 p.m. California time, July 19th, 2024. Latest activity here on the globe shows a 3.8 into the area around the Puerto Rico area, it looks like. Latest quake here, maybe around the Dominican Republic. Either way, close to the Puerto Rico Trench, one of the latest quakes there on the globe. As far as large-scale movement goes, in the last 24 hours or so, did see a little bit of activity stirring up down here in the South Sandwich Trench, 5.2 earlier this evening, 48 kilometers deep for this quake. Some minimal adjustment going on here across our watch zone. I call it the watch zone because it's been seismically active here in the last 10 days, or seismically non-active. Not a whole lot of seismic activity here in the last 10 days or so, but we did get a 4.9, 69.6 kilometers deep here into the one of the trenches here. Aside from that, not a whole lot else going on here across this area. New Zealand area looks like a 3.1 coming in earlier today. Got the typical crunch zone showing activity. 3.8 down into the Australia region. Far as the South America region goes, now still seeing quite a bit of aftershock activity following that large earthquake here yesterday. That 7.4 earthquake stirring things up out here into the Peru Chile Trench. Handful of deep quakes remaining in that area today, and also some looks like a little bit of smaller earthquake activity in there as well, not showing up here on the USGS map. Further up down the line here, or up the line I should say, California-wise, mostly microquake activity out here. We did catch a three-pointer on the Macama fault. That's the Coast Range fault here, secondary, first fault system here following the plate boundary, the San Andreas fault. 3.1 earlier this afternoon. And a handful of smaller quakes here through the Bay Area as well. I don't think we got anything above that, though. Let me check out the 2.5. That was about it for 2.5 and above. Aside from that, generally small microquake activity out here in the last 24 hours. No major movement to report for now. Still a little bit of earthquake activity around Mount St. Helens. Mostly smaller microquake activity from this morning. The Cascadia tremor map here today shows about 151 epicenters of tremor. Mostly, well, it's a little scattered up here across the Vancouver Island ranges. This is going to be underneath this area, down into the subduction zone itself. The Cascadia, that is. And we're still continuing, it looks like, that trend of somewhat elevated tremor activity. We were lacking it for quite a while. And it seems like it just picked up here in the last 6 weeks or so. Nothing has become of it. I mean, we did see a bunch of earthquake activity out here into the Juan de Fuca Ridge, up here along this plate boundary in the last 30 days. As you can see, this is quite the swarm of activity, but it has since died off with the last earthquake there about 6 days ago, 4.3. Nothing major. Yellowstone National Park, I don't think we got anything going on up here. A little earthquake outside of the Cardwell, Montana region, 2.8 this morning. But let me double check the Yellowstone overviews here of the seismograph stations, and fairly quiet. Not really seeing anything major going on here in terms of seismic activity. We would know about it, obviously. There was some late last night, early this morning, but those have since died out, and we're left with some very calm conditions out there across Yellowstone National Park as far as seismic activity goes. Into the rest of the states here, as you can see, minimal earthquake movement, mostly around the oil fields. One lonesome earthquake way up here in the Palermo, Maine area outside of Augusta, 2.1. Let's see, it does look like a few folks reported feeling this earthquake. Kind of rare to see, earthquake out here in this region, but not unheard of completely. A look at the last 30 days of small microquake activity out here does show a handful of quakes up and down this area, but nothing big. Just a little small microquake to shake things up out there. Let's see. Let's check in on Hawaii, see what's going on out here in the Pacific. Getting a little bit of activity up around the Mauna Loa region, although the majority of these quakes here look like they're well underneath the area. The Kilauea volcano has slowed down, at least in terms of earthquake activity. So for the latest information, we'll go here to the USGS Science for a changing world. We're always changing, right? Nothing stays the same. Earthquake activity, let me check out the seismograph station here. That one's offline, actually. Let's see what's going on. Looks like we lost some data there. I don't think it was associated with that issue earlier. I know a lot of systems went down with the Microsoft deal this morning. A whole bunch of grounded flights, and goodness, I'm glad I wasn't flying today or this morning. It's going to take a little while to get everything back on schedule. As far as seismic activity goes, as you can see, there's a handful of quakes, but really nothing major, no huge uptick. Just generally small earthquake activity there across the Kilauea volcano. The deformation data here shows us, well, taking a U-turn here, it looks like, from a downturn position earlier this afternoon back up into the inflation state. And this one's a little odd here. This previous inflation event is not normal compared to the previous inflations here over the last couple weeks or so. Definitely looks a little odd, but we'll continue to watch that. We're obviously at a elevated level once again. We have been for quite a while. It doesn't matter if it's this lower dip or this inflation event here. We're still at a extremely elevated level compared to well, any time since 2018, since the last 2018 eruption there at Kilauea volcano on the eastern rift zone down there. So going up. I will continue to watch that. Who knows what's going to happen? They may just do this for a little while, but eventually we'll get another surge of some pressure going on below the surface, and something's got to give out here. So just a matter of time. Up into the Alaska area here, generally small microquake movement around the area. 2.5 map shows only one earthquake outside of Anchorage here near Valdez at 2.6. Just a little bit ago. Along the Aleutian Trench here, where we've seen that 6-pointer yesterday, not a whole lot going on. Pretty quiet conditions out there for now. One earthquake here around the Curl Kamchatka this morning, 70 kilometers deep for that quake. It's going to be a 4.4. Aside from that, the Atlantic Ocean, as we can see, fairly quiet there on the globe. Mediterranean region shaking a little bit outside of Turkey there, it looks like, 4.1. And 3.2 way up north. So where is that? Let's take a look here. See where that 3-pointer is. It's going to be, yeah, up in Poland. 3.2 coming in. Fairly recent quake. And as you can see here on the map, generally scattered earthquake activity out here. A little bit around Turkey, a little bit around Greece. Earthquake here, earthquake there. Everywhere in earthquake. The GNC getting some earthquake activity as well. Nothing major going on there for now. A little bit of spotty activity out here around China as well. I think those showed up there on the globe, which they did. Yep. So we'll continue to keep an eye on things. Let's go check out Iceland real quick, see if anything has changed up there with that volcanic activity. This update was put out, well, a couple days ago here, about 3 days ago, and they mentioned that things are getting elevated again. About 13 to 19 million cubic meters of magma have been, well, let's see, it looks like about 13 million, but they're stating between 13 and 19 million would have to be added to build enough pressure there to trigger a new magma flow. But we're already there, so we're already at 13, so things could happen any day now in terms of another eruption around the area. Let's check out earthquake activity here. We're generally light. Obviously, before any major event takes place out here, we'll see a huge increase in earthquake activity. I'm talking hundreds of earthquakes in a very short amount of time period. And that is just not happening right now. A quick glance here at the 8-hour run times in terms of inflation there across the area. We're just going to go down here across the Grindavik area, and we'll take a look here, see what's going on. Leveling off a little bit. Here's the vertical displacement. I felt something crawling on me. It's still 85 degrees out here, out where I live here in Northern California, and the garden spiders are loving it. They're all over the place tonight. Going up here in terms of inflation, but look here the last couple days, it looks like things have leveled off here, so little important data there. When it levels off, it might be a little pause here before we see anything. Obviously, the accumulation there is very similar to what we've seen prior to the last eruption there at the end of May, as far as the level goes, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that. As far as space weather activity goes, well, got a little bit of sea flare activity popping up here. The moon is beautiful out there tonight. If you get a chance, go check it out. Almost full. About 99% chance or so. Aurora, or at least the auroras out here, do we have any chances of them? Well, it looks like maybe on the July 21st time period here, we may see something. This is going to be tomorrow night's here. Here is tonight's KP index up around 3. Tomorrow night up around 5 or so. Now, that's pretty decent to see a G1 class storm here. We're talking about northern tier states. Here is the view line, maybe down in Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota area, maybe. And that is pending if things amplify up like they are expecting. But a lot of times this plasma that gets shot off there from a CME may, not be completely Earth directed and may entirely miss us. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Right now, KP index around the 2 range or so. Not a whole lot here in the aurora forecast for the next 30 minutes. As far as flaring activity goes, well, we got numerous sunspots out here. And, it looks like this area here that we've been watching, the one that produced the X flare a little bit ago, a few days ago, I think it was, back when it was over here, is not looking all that great. Looks like it is declining a little bit as far as the overall complexity here of that magnetic structure that it once had. But still might be able to pop off some C flares and M flare activity, but it does look like things are declining within that sunspot. And that's 3751. 3751 here shows that it's stable. It is harboring a beta gamma delta structure, but I think it has dissipated a little bit. But that is stable. So the growth on that may be actually declining. Aside from that, folks, flare threats are going down a little bit. Only a 10% chance for an X flare. M flare at 55. C flare around 99% chance or so. So we'll keep an eye on the roars tomorrow, see if anything kicks up. A little bit of thunderstorm activity out here over the next couple days. Really nothing of any major concern. And as we kick up the numerical model here, this is the GFS run. I'm going to back out a little bit and just go here to the, I want to go back a little bit further, see what we got out here in terms of tropical development, either out here across the Pacific or the Atlantic. We'll put this thing into motion here and see what spins around. You notice that little system over here out in the Eastern Pacific completely shredded. It's expected to dissipate quite rapidly there. So things are not all that active in terms of tropical development yet in the Pacific. We're still a little early. Look at that massive high pressure out here. I'm not fond of that high pressure. That keeps things very dry out here along the west coast. Look at that. That thing is just huge. Seriously, it's taken up almost the entire northeastern area of the Pacific Ocean out here. That's crazy looking. But there's really not a whole lot of tropical development out here in the Atlantic or the Eastern Pacific. It'd be nice if we get this low pressure to cut off and swing down the west coast. That'd be beautiful, but it's not looking likely. I was just checking out the seasonal forecast out here. Let's see here. Yeah, this is for August, September, and October of this year. So July's been already a record-breaking month for us out here in California as far as heat goes. But this is for as we head into fall time. That is not cool. That shows some hot areas out here along the west still. Not so much in terms of precipitation either. So we're looking at hotter conditions. It's going to be a long, hot summer, I think. One of those dog days of summer. Potentially active regions out here across the eastern portion of the country. That could be due to the tropical possibilities that take place over the next couple months. And that's for August, September, October. Here's September, October, November. It's still roughly about the same. As far as wintertime goes, I don't think we're going to have a great winter out here across the west coast. We are switching into a La Nina pattern. That normally means colder and potentially rainier across the northwest and maybe northern California. So we'll see what happens. You know, these guys put out these little weather models, and sometimes they're correct, sometimes they are way off. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. All I know is I'm tired of the heat, and we are going to be cooking. It's supposed to be 110 degrees again here in Northern California tomorrow. Oh, yeah. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Seismograph station's pretty quiet out here. Not a whole lot going on in terms of live earthquake activity. But best thing to do, stay safe, be prepared, and make sure you have a plan out here no matter where you're at. We'll catch you guys back out here for the Saturday morning update. Stay safe out there, folks. Enjoy your Friday night.